baby, where don't broke me at? Where don't make me feel like say I'm not man enough. I no get nothing for offer. So all me party when look down on me. Where don't make me feel like say my life no good become something.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of your favorite talk show, The Talk to M Show, brought to you by Mulku Sulaiman Bangura in collaboration with Epic Radio 99.3 FM. If you're listening to me on Epic Radio, thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching on Facebook as well, thank you so much for tuning in. I know easy for watching live stream, but thank you for being a part of this. I know games in there on right now. In fact, my favorite team is playing FC Barcelona, but I have chosen to be with you today because I know how valuable and important it is for me to be here and pass on pertinent information that will help you, elevate you, academically and professionally, and also build your career. So I am happy to forego, watching my favorite team play today. But so I'm so happy to have you here today with me. Thank you so much for joining in. I am your host again, Mulku Sulaiman Bangura. I have a great show for you today. I have an amazing show, and today we're going to continue the part 2 of the application process to study as an international student. It's a very broad topic. It's a big topic, so it's not something we could have completed the first time. And more so, I had to my guests, the two guests that I had, David Manley and Abdul Malik Tijansi, they were, I had a time crunch with them because they had to, travel. They had other things to do. So that was why I had to pause, the application process and have them on so that I can, they can share their experiences with us, and then I can continue with the final part of, the application process to study as an international student. It's a big process, so just bear with me. And today we're going to talk about the type of letters that you receive from the universities. What are these letters that you receive? We're going to talk about financing. How can you finance all of this? Because international education can be super, super, super expensive, and that's not something we can just brush away. We're going to talk about that, and also we're going to talk about the visa application process and the preparation process. That's something people do not talk about all the time, and some people will assume that they assume what to do. They assume that they know, and it's not a one size fits all. Now, I'm not working for any of the embassies. I'm not a consular person. I can only share with you my experience and what I know, what I've learned, and what I've heard from other friends. So, but it's not going to be, the hard and fast rule, or whatever I say here is signed and sealed and settled. So just take my word and listen to what I have to say. I'll give you, some options. I'll give you some tips, and I'll also give you ways you can go around and, beat these consular guys. But like I said, I have a great show for you today. I have everything in store for you. So you're stuck with me again for one more time. And thank you for being a part of the show. We're concluding International Education Week month. This particular week, we want to jump into something else, something different. So stick with me and stay with me for the next couple of minutes as we figure things out together. We're going for a short break, and I'll be right back.
Now. You know go fit say you don't know me now. Anytime I like a flight to Dubai now. Hey, with me baby now. Anything I like I they buy now. Turn up, cause me I let it turn down. I let it run down. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. Come inside you life. Some go come for stay, and some go come and go. The reason why someone go stay, now only God know. The reason why someone go. Now God is help know. Me brother, me I don't go regret. If you decide for go, it's happened for a reason. Now only God know what you get for no say. It's never the end, cause the downfall of a man, no, not to the end of his life. And then they give up, and then they turn down.
Yes, welcome back again. I'm your host. You're stuck with me. This is your favorite talk show, Talk to M, and I am Mulku Sulaiman Bangura. So please, you can be a part of this show. You can send in your text message, or you can call us on 079-994-993, or you can leave a comment on the Facebook live stream. If you have a question, you can leave a comment there, ask your questions there, and trust me, I will make sure I answer your question. Or if you have anything that you want to talk about, please drop it in there and I will get to you when I have some time. So the last I think 2 weeks ago, this was when I handled the application process, the first time. And we talked about, let me just give you a quick rundown. We talked about the application cycle. We defined what's a fall admission cycle, what is a spring admission cycle, and what is a summer admission cycle. We discussed at length, describing and giving the distinctions and how the cycle runs, and between which date and which date the cycle runs. And also we spoke lengthily also about the pre-application process. What do you need to do as an applicant? How important it is to conduct your own research. And it has to be extensive research, by the way. How important it is to conduct your own research before you even start the application process. We also spoke at length about attending webinars and meeting some of the graduate admissions experts so that they can help you through the application process as well. This is a very critical part of the application that people do not, they ignore, or they do not understand too much about it, or they are fearful to do it. But we spoke at length about that as well. We also talked about what do you need to apply. For undergrad, we spoke lengthily about your SAT scores, your standardized test scores, which are IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson's English, or Duolingo. And we talked about providing documentations like the school leaving certificates, testimonials, previous results, and stuff like that. And we talk about your personal statements as well. It's very important to have that, and more so the financial guarantor, your references, 2 or 3 references. We also talked about other universities. So that was basically for the US. We talked about other universities in Europe and other parts of the world. And for postgrad, we also spoke about the things that are required for master's students, the undergrad results, coming down to HND and ND combined, and the complete official transcript. And some of the universities will require you to submit an assessment score. We spoke about all these assessing companies like the World Education Assessment Services. We spoke about IEE, UK, ENIC, a lot more. So if you want to hear more on this, you can please go to my YouTube page, Mulku Sulaiman Bangura, and then you can find the topic that I dealt with. You'll find a tape or recording, or you'll find the link to this one, the application process to study as an international student, and listen through. You get all the information that I'm talking about here. Also for postgrad, how important it is to tailor your resume in accordance with the requirements of that country, of where you're applying to. The GRE test for certain courses, your personal statement, how to tailor that. I wish I had time. I would have loved to help giving you tips on how to really write your personal statement, how to approach, answering, how to approach the TOEFL, the IELTS, because I have, I've applied so many times internationally. I have taken the TOEFL multiple times. I've taken the IELTS multiple times. I've taken the GRE also multiple times. So I have experience approaching these examinations. And so I would have loved to give you tips, but I really do not have time, on the show to cover all of that. Also, for PhD, what are the requirements, what you need, and that kind of stuff. I covered that. We also talked about the review process. So I think because of the time, we couldn't complete the show. So we stopped at the review process. So that's where we're going to continue this week. And we so now that you've applied, to the university. I know some students now, they have to sit and wait, and the waiting part is what is most what can be very challenging, because you feel with anxiety. You're asking yourself, what if they deny me? What if I'm not guaranteed a space? What if they don't even get me a scholarship? Like, what's going on? So that's where the problem, you begin to get some anxiety. So I remember I spoke about this last week. The last time I said you should apply to multiple universities. Do not just apply to one university. So just spread the tentacles and apply to multiple universities, and at least if you have a visual of what you want to pursue, what you want to study, and you qualify for that, I'm very certain that you one of those universities will definitely admit you. For certainty. And if you're applying for a scholarship, of course you'll be offered some scholarship. So just have multiple options, and do not just apply to one university, and make sure that you have what it takes. So if you are in a particular field, for instance, if you are in the private sector and you've been doing procurement all your life and you want to pursue a master's degree in procurement, I think it's an easy sell, because you will be able to articulate exactly and pinpoint what exactly you want to pursue. Why you want to pursue a master's degree in procurement. How that master's will elevate you. It's easier to apply. And most universities will see that, you have the working experience, you have the certificate, and you had a very good overall CGPA. So it's an easy sell. But if you're pivoting into something different, that can be quite challenging, because the admissions officer is going to say, okay, this man, he has been doing procurement for the past 4-5 years, and now he wants to go into cybersecurity. Now, I'm struggling to see how he would fit into cybersecurity. So you really have to be convincing. Why do you want to pursue cybersecurity? And remember, I know you are pivoting into something different, but you are bringing in your transferable knowledge from your experiences working or studying or pursuing procurement all your life, and going to cybersecurity. Now you have to be very convincing as to how can you compel this admissions officer to say, okay, well, this is why I'm pursuing cybersecurity. That is something I think I'm going out of. I'm going on a tangent here, but I'm trying to say, I would have loved to talk more about some of these things and how to really put them together, and so they can make sense for the admissions officer. Coming back to what I'm talking about, the review process. So you've applied. Remember, very important, apply early. Ensure that you apply early. And the reason why you have to apply early is because you're an international student, you have to apply for your visa. And from what I am hearing now for the US, for the next 6 months, it's very hard to get dates for interviews. And even if you put in a request for expedition, there are no guarantees that they're going to expedite your interview process, because you are a student. There are no guarantees. They could deny it easily. So make sure you apply early, and so when they get back to you, because normally it takes between 3 weeks to a month for the admissions officers to get back to you. I repeat, it takes between 3 weeks to a month for the admissions officers to get back to you. So when you apply and send in your application, they go into a system called the CRM tool. It's called Customer Relationship Management Tool. So 90% of the universities in the US, I'm saying this authoritatively because I know, 90% of the universities in the US, they are using a tool called Slate, right? And Slate is a CRM tool that is popularly known. And Slate it's kind of like it's a very brilliant tool that you can easily it just captures everything, captures your detail, your complete detail, everything you do. You send email, goes into Slate. You have a profile, and everything about you is there. All your documents, they're all just in this one portal, and they can be accessed by the admissions officer just by typing your name or your unique admissions number that the system would have generated for you. So Slate is widely used in the US. They have other CRM tools for sure, but but Slate is the most commonly used and it's easy. So when you apply, it goes into Slate, and Slate reorganizes it based on the date of completion and submission. And so when the admissions officers are actually reading your applications, they start reading from first come first serve. Okay, those that started earlier. So if you send in the applications earlier, they will review your applications first and get back to you beforehand, so that you can start to do other preparation. So it's very critical in the process, and for the admissions officers, and they know that. Now, after reviewing, all you have to do at the time would be just sit and wait. So you don't have to call them, you don't have to send them an email. They know, they see it, they read it, and then they want to get back to you on time. So you don't have to be on the P's and Q's for that. They will definitely get back to you via an email. Now, when they get back to you via an email, but for most universities, when you want to apply, you go to the website and you create they give you an email address to the portal. So it's on that portal that they will send in your letters. Sometimes some systems are so smart that when they send you a reply on the portal, you get a notification on your personal email. So when you see that on your personal email, you can say, "Oh, okay, I've received. I'm sure I've received the letter. Let me log into my portal to access that letter." So basically, that's how it works. So they will give you 3 types of letters mostly. One is called conditional offer. So what does conditional offer mean? This is where the university accepts the students, but they will still need to submit one of the following. So conditional offer means they take you, but you still need to meet some requirements. So for certain courses, they will still need you to submit a passing grade for a TOEFL score. They have several requirements. TOEFL is graded differently. So you have the overall score and you have the sub scores. So overall scores, maybe university is looking for 100 over 120 or 90 over 120, and they have sub scores. When they say sub scores, so if you have taken the TOEFL before, it's divided into 4 parts: the reading, the speaking, the listening, and the writing. And so they will say the minimum for all those should be 20. And so you have to meet, that standard. So when they give you a conditional offer, it means that, you have to meet a particular score line for you to be fully admitted. Also, possibly your the transcript you submitted is deemed unofficial. So when the transcript is unofficial, it means that you just attached it and sent it directly on the application portal. So that's regarded as an unofficial transcript. For that, you can be given a conditional offer, and when you submit the official transcript, your status will change from conditional to unconditional offer. And perhaps they also need maybe for the school results or security checks to just confirm certain things. So, or they need your GRE score for those that are in the STEM courses. Perhaps they need a certain GRE grade, for you to be accepted. Some universities, for instance, Clark University, for MBA, you need to score the minimum for GRE. I think it's 300, 350, 380. So that's the minimum. So if you score below that, they would still offer you, because you have this gigantic work experience, but they would say, okay, we still need a better grade, a passing grade for your GRE or GMAT scores. And so that could be another reason. Another reason is reference letters. Maybe your application is still missing, certain reference letters, or maybe they need 3 and you submitted 2, so they need all of those. They also need okay, I spoke about it, but let me just quickly say, so for the English test, so what some schools do is, if you submit English test results that is below the requirements, what they would do is they would ask you, okay, if you don't want to go and resit the TOEFL, we have internal English courses you can take, IEPs, right? Intensive English programs. You can pay for those programs. You go through them, maybe a semester or 2, and then if you get good grades, then you will be upgraded. Some universities, they would do that. They have programs like that, and you can pay, go to school, take classes, which I highly recommend. I highly recommend that, because the TOEFL actually is really not enough, or IELTS is not enough to prepare you for graduate school, especially if you're going for full research courses. Trust me, it's different. The writing patterns, the writing skills, they are completely different from what we are used to, what we're exposed to. So you should highly think about that. Yeah, so mostly those are some of the reasons why you would receive a conditional offer. An unconditional offer, in simple terms, is just this is where the university accepts you, having met all their requirements. Let's say you apply and you submitted everything and they're okay, they're fine, they don't have any issues with the applications, you're a grade A student, and that is when they will give you an unconditional offer. Now, for some universities, the application review process is holistic. Now, what does that mean? It means that when they're reviewing your application, they look at everything equally. They're not saying, oh, this holds more weight than this. Like, for instance, some universities will say, oh, your GPA is more important than your work experience, right? And some universities will say, oh, no, we don't care about your work experience. We care more about your GRE. So that's why it's very important to conduct your research to see how they are grading your application. This is something most people do not know. But when you apply to universities, the reason why you were denied is because you do not understand how they are grading your application. So ask the admissions officers, are you doing a holistic review, or you're looking at specific items, specific things? You want a good overall CGPA, you want 3.0, or are you looking for work experiences? Are you looking for are you looking for? Are you looking for a compelling personal statement? So you have to ask them so that they can tell you what they lay more premium on. So for most universities, it's holistic. They just look at everything equally, and while some holds more weight than the other. So ask them which ones hold more weight than the other. And so for the scholarship letter, now if you're applying to directly to universities, and these universities, they have scholarship programs, partly funded or fully funded. It means that some would say you do not need to submit a separate essay for scholarship. Some would say just submit your application and we would review based on what you present in us. We will allocate a certain amount of scholarship. Whilst some would say send us a separate essay, right? A separate essay. Convince us why should we give you or allocate this amount of scholarship to you? Why should we give you a full scholarship? So you would have to convince them. You would have to talk to them and say, okay, well, this is why I deserve it. Quick tips, please. If you're asking for money and you want to apply for scholarship, fully funded scholarship, please do not tell them sob stories. Everybody has a sob story in the US. They were tired of hearing your sob stories. Oh, I am, I'm a victim of the 11 years of civil war. I suffered. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. Trust me, you would not get a scholarship for that. They hear that. They have heard that stories 100 times. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Focus on exactly how that scholarship is going to elevate your career and your professional goals. Focus on yourself. Forget about, you don't have to stress the importance of how you suffered when you're growing up. Most people, they have it rough when they're growing up. I mean, they can relate. Like, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Focus on how important is this particular scholarship to you as a person, and what will you do after you have attain or earn that scholarship and go through your academic journey. That should be your focus. That should be what you should use to convince these admissions officers or these people that are sitting in the scholarship panels. You should be eloquent enough to convince them, paint a picture in their head of who you are, the kind of person you are, and what are your goals, what are your visions. They should be able to buy it just by reading your essays. That's how you're able to convince them. So some universities will send you, if a university asks you for that, and then which means they're going to send you a scholarship letter, say, okay, based on your application, we have decided to allocate 50%, 100%, as the case may be, it depends. So they will give you a scholarship letter, also following after you received your acceptance letter. Denial of admissions letter. I know that's the one most people do not want to hear about, but yes, they do send you denial letter. If Your application is unconvincing. I mean, they are not convinced with you. You are not eloquent enough, or you couldn't compel the admissions officers as to why they should admit you. They're going to deny you for sure, for certainty. So maybe you did not meet the course criteria. Maybe your GPA is lower than expected. Maybe you don't have enough work experiences. I mean, maybe your English result is so bad that they couldn't even admit you into some of their intensive English programs, or maybe you're pivoting to another course. They feel like you are not fully equipped enough academically to pursue those courses, or maybe because you decided to say it's supposed to be a 2 years course, but you decide to say I want to do it in a year, and they do not see that academic. You couldn't prove, your academic strength. So these are all some of the reasons why they would deny you. So if you were denied, so this is what they told us when I was an admissions officer. So my boss would always say, please do not share and tell people why we denied them. So they will never tell you specifically why you were denied. But this is a secret. The reason why most people are denied is because of they couldn't really tell us why you want to pursue this course, your personal statement, and also most likely your overall TGPA. If your overall TGPA is too low, really, really low, and you do not have adequate work experience, and your personal statement is, it's empty, it's dry, it doesn't really fully convince the admissions officer to admit you, they're going to deny you for sure. They're going to deny you. And if you presented a fake paper, if you use AI to write your personal statement, they're going to deny you. These are tips. So don't think you can trick the system. And they have, like I said the last time, they have tools that they can easily detect. If you actually wrote your personal statement or you used AI, there's a tool called Turnitin now. So they just dump everything there, and Turnitin tells them exactly who wrote that application for you. So these are some of the reasons why they will deny you. So please do the right thing and listen to this, and ensure to research, ask questions, and so that you would not be denied, because that's a very bad feeling. It's something that can traumatize you. So the next steps. This is for U.S. universities specifically. I just want to focus on U.S. universities for now, and then I'll jump into other ones. So, like I said, research your universities. Try to understand what they require, what's needed. So after you receive your conditional offer, for instance, or unconditional offer from the universities, personally, I advise you to go to have a one-on-one. Ask the admissions officer, thank you so much for admitting me to your university. I'm elated, and I'm looking forward to coming in and to pursue my course. So what's the next step? Always call them, ask them, what is the next step? Have a one-on-one meeting with them. You need to understand what's the next step. And most of the next steps is basically you on you. So they will communicate to you effectively what you need. So, immediately after you receive your letter, you should start talking about your I-20. So the I-20, what is an I-20? So basically, it's a document required by an university by law. That if an international student is coming into the US, the university have to have what's called a document called an I-20. It's kind of like what identifies you as an international student, and where your information will be in the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. And that's what they will use to track your movement and track where you are at every point in time. This is for US specifically. And so you need to, the universities will have to issue that I-20. But for them to issue your I-20, you have to, for some universities, they ask for a down payment, because they want to make sure that if they're going to issue this I-20, you're coming. Because it's a government document. If they don't want to just release it to you and you decide to say, no, I'm not coming, and you have to come. And for some people have misused that opportunity when they give them the I-20. What they do is, if Clark University give me an I-20, I would change my university and go to Brandeis instead of Clark University. So I'm going to use that I-20 to go to Brandeis instead of Clark University, and that puts Clark in a very precarious position with the government, and so that has caused confusion. That's why some universities ask for financial commitment. Some ask for $500, some ask for $200 just down payments. But don't worry, that that down payment is actually a down payment to your fees, the fees that you would be, tuition fees that you were paying for the course. So that's what most universities would do. So yeah, so basically that's the I-20. It's the student and the program information. Also, so for that I-20, so that's where you enter all your details, and you would have to pay for something called a SEVIS. I'm going to talk about SEVIS. So why is the I-20 important? You have to use that for a visa application. That's what you're going to use to apply for your visa, and also entry into the US when you go in front of the I'm blanking out now, but let's say you're in the US and in front of the immigration officer. They're going to ask you, what are you doing here? You just show them your I-20 and everything is there, your school, and how long you're going to be there, what you're pursuing, and where you're staying. It's all in your I-20. So that's why it's very important. It's also important, it shows the legal date that you'll be staying in the US, how long you'll be staying. So if it's a 24-month course, you'll be there for 24 months, and then after that, if you're doing your post-academic training, you have to apply for a fresh I-20 when you're there in the US, and they will give you, which will show where you would be pursuing your post-academic training and for how long. And so the university will have to send that to the Department of Homeland Security to keep track on you. So you have to pay your service fee. For you to fill that I-20, you have to also pay what's called a service fee. What's a service fee? So service stands for Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. It's basically, what goes into the I-20. Okay, it's a database used by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to track and monitor international students. That's what they use to track you. So if you think that you're in the U.S. and you went into the U.S. with your student as a status, your status as a student, and you're hiding and you think you're safe, you are not safe. They just one click of a button, they know exactly where you are. They know that you are here, you're overstayed, you're there illegally. So yeah, so that's what the service is. So you have to go and pay for the service fee. So this fee, as far as I know, a service fee costs $350 right now, which is, I think, roughly, if I'm not mistaken, based on the exchange rates, around 7,700 galleons. And it must be paid before submitting your DS-160 form. And so if you combine the service fee and the visa application fee, so if you're applying for student visa to the US, it's going to cost you $185, which is around 4,070 leons, and you have to pay that at GT Bank. So the visa application fee, which is $185, plus the service fee, which is $350, you have to pay a total amount of $535. This is just for the application process, the visa application process, which is around an estimate of 11,770 leons, to just apply for the visa and go through that whole process. So this is just an estimate. So that service fee, you cannot get around it. It's very important to track your legal status, very important to generate your I-20, like I said, and complete it. And for also so the DS 2019 forms are for students that are going in with a J1 visa. So a J1 visa is basically exchange visitors visa for students that are being sponsored by the State Department, US State Department, or government sponsored programs. It's also very important for fee payment requirements, facilitates communication between institutions and DHS, and ensures program integrity. We're going to take a short break, and when I come back, we will talk about the UK and Hungary, and just give you how it works for those other countries if you're applying, or you're applying to universities and you want to go in for the visa process. I'll just run through with you these ones, and also give you tips on how to approach those visa interviews, and then we jump into financing last. See you soon.
They don't better now. Famous and the name now. You know the feet say, you know me now. Anytime I like a flight to Dubai now. Hey, with me baby now. Anything I like, I they buy now. Turn down, cause me I let they turn down. And let they run down. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I'm looking forward to a brighter future. I'm moving ahead. I never stop for nothing. I never tried it. Shake up your body, yeah. Let me make all man declare it. Shake up your body. try you life. Some go come for stay, and some go come and go. The reason why someone go stay, now only God know. The reason why someone go. Now God is help know. Me brother, me I don't go regret. If you decide for go, it's happened for a reason. Now only God to know. What you get for no say, it's never the end. Cause the downfall of the man know. Not to the end of the life.
Welcome back again. This is your favorite talk show, Talk to M, brought to you by Epic Radio in collaboration with Mulku Sulaiman Bangura. Today we are rounding up on the topic international education. And also we are concluding on our topic, the application process, applying as an international student. And so I've been talking about the review process, what are the letters that you are given as a student, and what they mean, and also the visa documentations, you need to apply specifically for the US. And I'm going to jump into the UK for now. So you can also be a part of the show. You can send us a text message, or you can call us on 0799949993 if you have any questions, and maybe we can talk about it. Please do not hesitate to call or text. So for UK, so let's say you apply to a school in the UK, and finally you receive a conditional offer, or an unconditional offer, and you're asking yourself, what next? The next step, like I said, do your research, and luckily we have the consular section here in Sierra Leone for UK. You can go there and check and ask questions about their student visas. So when I did my research, and when I say research, I mean Google and AI, I checked and I found out that for the UK visa, you need £490. So the visa itself costs £490. This is something you have to pay at the bank, and non-negotiable. You pay exactly that at the bank for you to complete the application process of your visa. And also they have a fee called healthcare surcharge. That's the fee that is actually on the high side. So it's basically like medical insurance, so that when you go there, if you fall sick, that money can be used for your medical care and other things. And so that medical surcharge, well, I had two information, but please check. Do not take my word for this. Check and see which one is the right one. So one of the references that I checked, they said it costs £776 for a year, and the other one said £470 for a year. So please do your own research and check and see which one is, which one is it. So this is just for a year, £776 or £470. I don't know which one is which, but that's just for the year. And if you're spending 2 years there, you have to pay, for the 2 years you're spending there. But you pay that when you are there in the UK. And what are the documentations that they're actually looking for? They're looking for confirmation of acceptance from the school. The letter that the school will give to you. Proof of finances, who's going to finance your school. If it's a scholarship, you have to provide the scholarship letter from the organization that you receive your scholarship from. Also your passport and your IELTS result. You have to prove that you passed the English language test result, English language test, and you got the accepting grade. Your academic documents, and also a yellow card. We all know what's a yellow card. So for those that haven't traveled before or haven't had that experience, a yellow card is basically a document that you get from I don't know where you can get that now from Sierra Leone, but it's basically shows that you have received the shot that prevents you from transferring any TB or any transferable diseases. Basically, well, not any transfer. There are certain transferable diseases. I'm not a doctor, but it's basically a document. It's like the COVID certificate that you are given, saying, "Oh, I have taken the shot, for certain transferable diseases, and I'm not bringing in these diseases in your country. I'm safe. I'm fine. I'm okay." So you have to get that yellow card, before you go to the UK. You also they need your biometric information, which they would take at the consular section. It will point you into locations where you can take those. And of course, you should and would have completed the online visa application, which is quite important. That's the only time they will call you to go there for your visa applications and stuff. So yeah, so basically that's it for the UK, and I'm sure it is for the other European countries. So that's why it is very critical to ensure you check. For other countries that they do not have a consular office here in Sierra Leone, you might have to travel to the nearest country where they issue visas. Some countries do offer what's called e-visa now. You have to check to see if student visas are applicable to that for that kind of visa. So you have to do that check as well. So e-visa is basically saying electronic visa. You don't have to go there and do the physical visa interview. They could do that via Zoom or something. But like I said, it's on a case-by-case basis, and it's not common for every country. It's not a common thing offered by most of the countries. And so yeah, so that's it for the requirement for for the UK. So let's jump into the financing part, because now that's the big question. That's what most people say. This guy they talk about scholarship, we talk about international education for apply, but it was me to go put money for finance me school one. Yeah, so I mean, that's a very dicey situation for most people that want to pursue their education, and it's very expensive. Like, for instance, most schools in the US for master's program, they would ask for $40,000 for a year, $45,000 for a year. For some courses, $50,000 for some schools. It goes up to $70,000 a year for some schools, especially Ivy League schools. So it's quite expensive. While some courses are also on the low side, you can get courses, master's courses for $25,000 for a year. So it depends on the course, it depends on the university, it depends on where exactly you want to pursue your master's degree. So, so that's a lot of money. We use loans here, and we know how much Leon is. So it's quite challenging. That's just a tuition fee. You have medical insurance that you have to have money for. In most schools, most universities, medical insurance is mandatory. You have to provide a medical insurance to show that, if you can't seek now, so you have insurance to take you to the hospital for care. Also, there's what's called a living allowance. You rent housing. Okay, housing is not cheap there in the US. I remember where I used to pay for $500 for a very tiny room. I mean, that's the tiniest of room. Basically, not just the bed and the chair, right? That's it. I used to pay $500 for that. But if you want, a much bigger room, you have to have like $650 for some places. This is mostly in the East. You have to pay like $650 in the eastern part of the US. So housing is quite expensive. So $650 divided by 12 give you an idea of how much it costs you to stay. And for some universities, they have rooms and boarding, but that's quite expensive. You have to pay something like $4,000 up to $4,000 per semester. And if you're doing masters, it's 2 semesters. That's like $8,000 for just room and boarding. So that's quite expensive. I'm saying all of this to say, international education is very expensive, and you have to have enough money, to go pursue your higher education there. And so, but how can you raise this money? So one, there is a whole body called Empower Financing. Like the letter M. Empower Financing. So go research about Empower Financing. So what does Empower Financing do? So Empower Financing, they review students' application for loans. They give out loans. Okay, they give out students' loans. So if you as a student, you want to go and pursue for now, they're very specific. They only give loans to students that intends to pursue master's course in Canada and the US. For now. Maybe in the future they would expand, but for now it's just Canada and the US. In addition to that, they to my knowledge, they would give loans to students that are pursuing STEM courses: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Any course that is under the category of STEM, those are the courses that they would finance, to my knowledge. And in addition as well, they do not have contracts with all universities in the US. So you have to go to Empower and check to see which universities they are in business with. You would have to go to Empower, go to the website and check. They will show you all the universities they are in business with, and then you can apply to that university because Empower does business with them. And meaning they can, if you apply to the university, you get accepted, you can apply for a loan if it's a STEM course, and then you go through the process. There are, eligibility criteria. Bam, you are given your access. So Empower financing is a very easy way, for students to get loans. They give out loans up to $70,000, $80,000, depending on your course, depending on other criteria that you have proven that you can make that payment back. Now, you have to understand before going into that kind of agreement with Empower, you have to understand their repayment facilities, how much, is their premium, how much is the interest rate. You have to understand all those so that you know that, okay, this is what I'll be paying, and this is the interest that's on top, and this is my premium. This is what I have to pay bulk plus my interest. You have to understand with Empower and sit with Empower. They would help you figure all that out. So Empower is a very, they're here. They have given a lot of students here from Sierra Leone. Yes, they don't give Salomonian loan. They have given a number of Sierra Leoneans loans to pursue higher education in the US and Canada. So you go to the website, Empower Financing, type Empower Financing, and then they have links to test your eligibility. They have a bunch of questions that they will ask you. You have to answer all those questions, and then you have to submit certain information like your ID, your passport. You upload your photo, a number of other things. If you have applied to a university, you have to send in your application letter, your acceptance letter that I've been admitted, and this is the course I want to pursue, and they will tell you the amount of loan you're qualified for. So this is one of the easiest ways, to finance your education. If you're going for a STEM course, apply for a loan through the Empower Financing Scheme, and if you qualify, they will give you that money. But the money does not go to you or your account. That's the catch. It goes directly to the university. So, for instance, if you apply to Clark University, they would send that money in Clark's account to their account. That's where the money goes. Not then if you don't, they can get that money, you use them for business. So and a big disappointment. And they give that money there. It goes straight to Clark accounts. And if you want to stay on board, if you need a place to stay, they would ask Clark to give you a room, and they will pay for the room and boarding, and they'll take care of all of that. And when you pay for room and boarding, it's inclusive of food and other amenities. So that's how they finance students, international students. I think you would have to. I'm not too sure for the tickets for the to fly over there. You have to figure that out. But for in terms of fees, living allowances, and all that stuff, that's something they would cover. So explore, research about Empower Financing. I believe I saw a bunch of young ladies. They are kind of like sales rep for Empower Financing. They are here. They have offices here in Freetown now. So you can do your research, ask around, and walk up to them and ask questions. Go to their offices and ask as many questions as you can, and see if you're qualified. And if you're qualified, boom, that might be an opportunity for you to, have financing for your education. Another financing option is bank loans, right? So, for instance, if you have a very good asset, you have a very valuable asset, or you have like strong collateral, you can go to the bank, and grab a loan and say, "Yo, I need a loan," and you can arrange a prepayment option, and you can arrange an interest rate option as well, so that the interest rate does not. Guys go to the point where you pay back the loan self. You just pay interest on top. So you can do that. Some banks, they would, based on your credibility, So it's difficult here in Sierra Leone to assess people's credibility because we don't have credit history. We don't have like a body or a union that is responsible to aggregate all your credit history. We don't know who don't go to us win OP. So man don't to us have back, don't to us close, don't to us bag in OP. So if we have a strong body here, like in most countries, anybody we trust, any side we trust, it actually aggregates all your credits and put them somewhere, and then it will determine your credit history. It can tell that you're a bad credit or you're a good credit. And so we don't have that kind of system here in Sierra Leone. So but the bank does have their own system that they design that helps, to authenticate and validate loan applicants. So, but if you have a strong collateral, a solid collateral, you can apply. I mean, you can talk to the loan officers. You can get those loans. I mean, this is your education. I mean, I don't know why you're afraid to invest in your education. Invest in yourself. It always pays off. Do not be afraid to invest in yourself. I'm telling you. Investment in your education, investment in your professional career and your professional goals always pays off, and you will reap the benefit. So do not be afraid to even take a loan to go and study. I mean, it always pays off. Sell valuable assets. If you have pieces of land, you have hectares of land, and they're just sitting there, I mean, they're appreciating value, you can sell those, and or you can lease those if you want to. Have a lawyer and lease them for a couple of years, and since you don't have the resources to build on them or do anything on them, lease them for a couple of years, and then use that money to pursue your education. Okay, and you never know what will happen. Also, if you have a company or you have an equity somewhere and this company is booming, it's making money, you can sell part of that equity to somebody who has money, and you can get the cash and you get the liquid cash and finance your education. Or just apply also for scholarships, fully funded scholarships. I mean, there are institutions and organizations, international institutions and international organizations that do offer scholarships. So apply for those as well. I mean, yes, the odds are very small, but hey, I mean, there's nothing too big for God to do. If you have a vision, you have a goal, and you're determined, God can do anything for you. So just trust the process. I mean, be faithful, manifest it and attract it using the law of attraction. We spoke about the documentary Secret the other day, myself and Malik Tijansi. That whole documentary is a very life-changing documentary because it talks about the law of attraction. Whatever you're attracting in your life is what you get. So if you attract a scholarship, trust me, you're going to get it. You just have to work towards it. You don't just sit down and talk. Work towards it, and then, you will get it, with God on your side and by your side. So these are some of the funding options that are available to study your international education. So don't just sit down and say, I'll not get money. No, if you really want it, you will explore one of these options and then go for it. Okay? Now that we've spoken lengthily about all of this, let's talk about so the past two sessions, my colleagues spoke about life as an international student, how difficult it is living abroad, how challenging it is. So I don't want to talk more about it. Let's assume that you have done all of that, and now what next? You have to come back home. I mean, that's one of the most challenging things for most people. Oh, well, before I talk about it, let me quickly talk about the tips about the visa application process. I almost skipped that. So when you're preparing for the visa interview, let's say you've put together your documentations, everything, everything is checked, all the documentations are checked and all that good stuff. And now you are going for the interview. I'm not a consular, like I said earlier. I'm not the highest grade of reading in the dispensary. Now am I the strongest Avenger? I don't know. I'm not an expert in traveling, or I'm not an expert in visa applications. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just trying to figure life out. What I do know is these consulars, officers, they're very smart people, perceptive people. They are being taught how to profile people. They are being taught how to psychologically read people. Okay, and what most people approach these people with the wrong mindset. If you approach these people with the wrong mindset, they see through you like that. Easy, very easy. So you have to prepare well. Okay, by what I mean by prepare well, make sure, first of all, you have solid financing for your education. If you want to go study, it's very expensive internationally. So who is going to finance it? Most people will say, oh, okay, my uncle or my auntie or my dad. So when I was there in the US, we had very many situations where people came into the country and say their uncle renegade on their promises to finance their education. And then they went back to the university as a burden saying, oh, please give me increased scholarship so that, I can continue my course, and started crying, It's very embarrassing for the universities. And they would always say, this is not cool. And that would reduce the quota for that particular country, because we realize that most of them do not have the financial capacity. They give these reports to the Department of Homeland Security, which in turn give these reports to the embassies in these countries. That's something you do not know. But yes, that's what happened. And so most people say, my uncle ain't pay for me. But when they go there and they're like, my uncle saying they pay again. And they need the money. They're not running the charity. They need their money. I spoke about this the last time. In the US, international education is a business. I mean, the universities are running their business, $1 billion business industry. So you have to have money for it. So you should be able to convince the consular that, oh, I have enough resources, and it's on me. It's my decision. So if you have an Empower loan, perfect. Empower is going to send a letter to you, which you're going to take to the embassy and show, oh, I have a loan, and Empower is going to take care of my living expenses, my tuition fees, and for the period which I'm pursuing my master's or my undergrad level. I mean, that's enough convincing information for them to say, okay, well, you mean serious. I mean, we can admit you. We can allow you to come in here to pursue your degree. So have solid evidence of financing. If it's your dad or your mom, make sure it's authentic. It's not something that you went in and faked. Make sure it's authentic, and they will see through you if it's not authentic. Okay, before they can give you, before they can allow you. They will deny most people that will say, oh, my uncle is going to finance or my aunt is going to finance, because they have had that experiences in the past. People saying, my uncle finance me, my auntie finance me. They have had it in the past. So they would deny most people that are, coming up with those stories. It has to be you personally. You have money in your account, or you have a funding agency, maybe a sponsorship fund from somewhere, a scholarship fund from somewhere, or Empower loan, or a bank loan. They will take those letters quite seriously for the finance side. So you have to prove to them. Secondly, you have to tell them, convince them that you did come back. Most people, they forget that when they go to the embassy, you're asking for a student visa, and after pursuing your course, you have to come back. But when they're asking you questions, you never at any point in time mention, oh, when I return, this is what I'm going to do. If you give them that impression that you're not coming back, they might just deny you for that. They will see that, oh, this guy is not it's not genuine in their application. So you have to, throughout the whole process, state clearly that after you complete your course and after you complete your OPT, you would return to your home country to contribute to national development. That's what they want to hear. You have to be able to say that and believe it. I mean, you have to be believable. You not just say animal because for say sake. You have, these guys are psychologists. They can read through you. You have to be believable so that they know that you're going to come back and contribute to national development. That's so you say the Wolam book. And most people don't even know the university they're going, the states they're going, what they're going to study, and why they're studying it. Some of these consular guys will just ask you in passing, like, which state are you going to, which school, and why are you going to study? If you're not able to convince them, how are you going to, do well? Because they have seen situations where people go in the US, once they arrive, they decide not to go to the schools anymore. They change their minds. They have seen that, and that causes stress on the on government social amenities. Then they do not want you to be a burden on government social amenities, and so you have to convince them that, oh, this is what I'm going to pursue, and this is why I'm going to pursue it. Sometimes they will ask you a question, and they would the answer you give, they will just use that to associate or just validate all what they're thinking about you. So you have to be mindful. You have to be sure of what you're saying, why you want to pursue it, and how important it is to your professional goals. These are all things you need to really plan. I mean, say it over and over, study, understand it before you go to the counselors to convince them. They will look at all those details. Also, make sure everything you wrote is truthful. Don't lie. If you lie on your application and they find out, they're going to deny you. Trust me, they will find out. They will find out. If you have somebody in the US that is staying there and is their close relatives, state it clearly. I have XYZ there in the US, or in the UK, state it clearly. I have XYZ in the UK, and if they are there illegally, it's fine. It's okay. That's not your problem. But state it there so that they know that, okay, you have this person there. Now you have been truthful. But if you know that you have somebody that is very close to you and you say, I'm not a relative there, they're going to deny you for that because they know that you guys are just going to be in cahoot in committing illegal immigration in the country. So these are all some of the things that these consular guys will look at, when they are reviewing and interviewing you. So I hope I'm not missing out on any other thing else in terms of the visa preparation. But basically, these are some of the tips that you need. Be truthful. Be straightforward. Study and know exactly what you're going to say. You want to come back. Make sure your finances are tight. Make sure you're in control of your finances. Or if it's Empower financing, kudos. If it's a bank loan, kudos. If it's your money that you saved, kudos. Make sure you have enough proof, adequate proof that this is who you are and what you're doing and where you got the money from. And then practically, you should be good. So, well, as I'm rounding up now, coming back normally can be very tough. So be prepared that when you come back, you're going to face a lot of rejection. You're going to face a lot of side-eyeing. You're going to face a lot of challenges. You're not going to fit in. People will look at you differently. If you're not careful, even your former job won't accept you again, especially if you resign to leave and go. So it can be quite unsettling for many international students. So prepare your mind for that, and so you won't have anxiety. You expect the worst, and if things change, kudos to you. If it doesn't, well, that's some of the cross you have to bear. Well, there you have it. I think I hope I passed on very critical information to you today, all about international education. If you have questions, you can go into my, you can drop a comment on my YouTube page, Mulku Sulaiman Bangura, or you can drop a comment on this show on Epic Radio Facebook page, and I can give you answers to that. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I can give you pieces of advice. There are a number of scholarships right now that are available for international students. There's the McGill for Canada. There's the Hungary for students to pursue masters in Hungary, and many other. So just go there and search and apply and see and try your luck and see what happens for you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I'm jumping into something different next week. I'll let you know next week. I'm curating something very beautiful. So you've been a wonderful listener, a wonderful supporter to my show. God bless you. Thank you for being a part of this show. I am your host again, Mulku Sulaiman Bangura, and until next week, Tuesday, have a lovely rest of your evening and a wonderful rest of your week as well. Take care and bye-bye.
It's never the end, 'cause the downfall of the man,